Hi, in my last video I showed you how to back up the configuration on a single Cisco device to an FTP server, and in today's video I'll be showing you how to back up multiple devices at the same time to a secure location using Ansible. This would help you if you have multiple devices that you need to back up when a configuration changes, or monthly, or depending on when you need to. My name is Kenneth. Let's get into the video. So before we get started, I'd like to show you how things are set up on my end, right? So in today's video, we're going to be making use of three devices. We're going to be making use of three Cisco devices, right? So my 1900 series router, which you're very used to, that's what one of the devices we're going to be using, and that's the device we have right here, and we are connected on gigabit 0/0 with the IP address 192.168.125.1. right now we are connected to a switch, which is a Catalyst 3560 switch, and these are all physical devices. So we have this switch here, and we have the IP address stated here on the VLAN 1, and then we have a second switch connected to the first switch with this IP address on the VLAN 1 as well, which is a 3750 Catalyst switch. Now the automation host which we're going to be using is hosted on VirtualBox, right? So we're using a Linux Ubuntu, and it's running Ansible, and it's hosted in our VirtualBox. We're going to be seeing all of this in a bit. So for the physical devices, I wouldn't like to tilt my camera because it would disrupt my setup. I have my router here, and I have the switches here as well. So these are very heavy equipment, so I'll just dive right into the video and show you these devices through the console. So let's get into it. So if we navigate to the console right here, I am currently connected on my router, and a basic configuration has been done on these three devices, like configuring DHCP to give out IP addresses, and configuring interface, and as well as interface, and just basic configuration. And then the VLAN 1 has got an IP address through from the router. So if I get into the first device, you see that I'm on the router 1 here, and if I do enable and get in my password there and do show DHCP bindings, right? Sorry, I have to add IP, right? Show IP DHCP binding. So now you see that these are the devices that we have connected on this network, right? So comparing to our diagram, we have these are the switches. As you can see, they have other MAC addresses assigned to them, which is what they are connected to. And then we have my laptop, and then the VirtualBox host here as well. So we'll move on to the next. We're going to take a look at the VirtualBox host. Now on the VirtualBox part of things, I've had my device bridged, so the network settings for my Ubuntu is bridged to my physical device. So as you can see that it is bridged, so it's getting an IP address from the same network. So now on the Ansible part of things, we are going to see that I've installed Ansible, and we're going to see the version that is currently running on here. We have Ansible Core running, and that is the 2.17.12. we have the configuration file in this location, and we have every other thing that we need to know about the Ansible that has been installed and the Python version that it is using. Now I have created a folder in my home directory called Ansible Cisco Backup, right? So this folder is the folder that will be hosting my Ansible files. If we do ls, if we do cd and we do ls, we're going to see that that Ansible folder is right here, right? So we see the Ansible folder is right here, right? So if I navigate into that Ansible folder and do ls, we're going to see that we have 3 files existing here at the moment. I'm going to delete this one because it was a previous backup that I had done, so I'm going to quickly go in there and have it deleted. So if we go back to the ls command, we're going to see that we have 2 files, backup and inventory.ini. Backup is a YAML file, and then the inventory is an ini file. So typically these are the 2 things that you need to have your automation on backup of your hosts, of your configurations working. Now let's start with the inventory file. The inventory file, if I do cat inventory, we're going to see that the content of the inventory file is basically pointing to the host that I have on my network. Now I have router 1, which is on this IP address that we've already seen in the diagram. I have switch 1 and I have switch 2, and specified with these IP addresses, and they are grouped as Cisco devices. Now if you had multiple devices that you'd want to add, you can go ahead and add more devices down here. Now you can do that. You can edit this file with a text editor, you can edit it with Nano, VI, Vim, whatever it is that you choose to work with. So if I do Nano and inventory.ini, I would be able to edit this file using Nano. So if I go into, if I wanted to add multiple devices, I can go ahead and add the switch and define it, or I can go ahead and add a router, right, and define it. Now we have Cisco device vars here. This defines how we are going to connect to these devices that we have listed right here, right? So if we're going to connect to these devices, we need certain things like the username of the devices, the password. Now Cisco obviously is not a secure password, and it is not recommended to be used in a production environment. Yeah, so it's a password, and then we know that we need port 22. SSH Ansible uses port 22 to have access to the devices. Then we need a become password, and then we also need the method. We need a become password we've defined is Cisco. This is password that is going to use to access the privilege mode of the devices. And then we need the iOS, or the operating system that is going to be accessing is a Cisco IOS, so we need to define that as well, and it's going to be accessing them through network CLI, right? So this can be static for all your Cisco devices, right? Now if you needed to add other devices like from a different vendor, these might need to change, so you can go through the Ansible documentation to find out what you need to add here. Now if I wanted to group different devices, I can go ahead and group different devices right here, right? And let's say I have web servers that I need to back up or automate as well. I can do web servers, right? And then I'll come down here and list their IPs. So that is basically what you do with an inventory file. Now I'll exit from here and I won't save because this is already good enough. Now I'll do Nano and we'll check out the backup. To go through this file, we can see that it has a whole lot of things, a whole lot of code within this file, but it's pretty much straightforward, right? So these specify tasks that we are going to be running. These are tasks that we are going to be running, right? All of these are tasks. So starting from the beginning, we'll see that the first task, the name is backup Cisco device configuration. host Cisco devices, which is gotten from our inventory file. We are not gathering facts like Cisco details of the iOS version and things like this. We're not gathering any facts. Then we are backing it up to a directory called backups, right? So which is in the same directory as the Ansible file. Now you can specify any directory that you please, any directory that you want, which could be the same directory as, you know, the FTP directory that we used in our previous video, right? Now we have pre-tasks, which is to generate a timestamp. We want to generate a timestamp because we want our backups to make sense, to have meaning, right, as to when and what time it was the backup was taken. Now we delegate this task to the local host. Now it's being run on the Ansible host, so we're going to run it once, and we're going to set up a global timestamp as well, which is in this format, so that a format that makes sense: hours, minutes, and seconds, date, year, month, and date, right? We're going to set a shared backup directory path, right? And we're going to create those variables here. Now this next task that we're going to be looking at is we're going to create a local backup directory once and for all, right? This is going to be done by the local host. It's going to be done once, and we're going to create this directory and we're going to give it the full permissions, right, that are required for accessing that directory and storing files and reading files. Next one, we're going to get the device hostname, because we want our backups to make sense per iOS configuration. We want it to be specific to what device it is taken from. We're going to be mapping it to the hostname, and we're going to run this command show running config, and we're going to get the hostname from there. Now we're going to extract the hostname from, you know, it's going to be a long series of tests, so we're going to extract the hostname by splitting the output out and extracting whatever is the hostname, the first part, which is the hostname, right? Now the second part, which is the hostname. Now after that, we're going to do another task, which is called backup the running config. This is going to run the command show running config, which is going to read the entire configuration on the Cisco device. And once it reads that config, the next thing is to ensure is going to try to copy out that config and back it up with the next task. Ensure backup directory exists on localhost, so it's going to redundantly ensure that this backup directory exists. Once it confirms that it exists, it's going to save the file to the localhost. It's going to save the file to that directory. This is going to be delegated to the local host, and then the content of the file will be in this manner: running config standard output, and it's going to make the destination file name as specified here, right? Host name and then timestamp dot configuration file. So this is how it's going to save it with Ansible. So I'll exit out of here because this is completely done. I'll also be putting this file on my GitHub repository, which I'll specify the URL to, so that you can get this file. Within this host's location, you can also specify if you have, so this is pointing to the hosts on the what's it called? Let me get you there quickly. CD Ansible, right? It's pointing to nano inventory. It's pointing to these devices. Now if you have another group that you've specified, down here, which could be whatever, right, that you specified down here, which could be whatever servers, you can also put it in here to specify that I want the backup of those particular devices. But if they are Cisco devices, then you can use this format. But if they are different devices, say HP devices, FortiGate devices, then you have to find out the specific way to, you know, back up those devices using Ansible, because the variables might be a bit different. Now I'll exit from here, no, and then I'll exit from here as well. So both our inventory file and our backup playbook is ready. So you can have multiple playbooks that do multiple or different things, right? So that's the best way to approach this. You can have different playbooks that do different things, and you can automate them using you can automate when they run using cron job or systemd by creating a service or creating a cron job that would execute this file as at different time of day, or as at depending on how your environment is set up and how you want to do your backups. Now I'll clear all of this for us to have some space, and I'll go back to okay, yeah, now to execute our Ansible playbook, which is this one. The command that we need to use is this command, which says, it's quite a long one, I didn't want to type it out. So Ansible playbook, and then the inventory file that is going to be using is inventory.ini. Then you're going to specify the playbook that you're trying to run, right? So you could have multiple inventory files, you could have multiple playbooks. Just know how to track them and know how to specify them within this command. Now if I run this, so you see it's broken down into tasks so that it can be trackable. Now the first one, playbook, backup Cisco device configuration. Second one, generate timestamp, run once on localhost. Next one is set shared backup directory. Next one is going to create the local backup directory. Next one is going to get the device host names, and all these tasks are okay. And next one is going to extract the host name, which is okay. Next one is going to backup running configuration for each device, which it is done. Next one is ensure backup directory exists, redundancy, which it is done. And then task save configuration to file is saved the file to our current working directory. And then a recap of everything. Now if we do ls in this same directory, we're going to see that a file has been created called backup, right? If we do ls backup, we're going to see that another folder is created in here, and this is how it is meant to run. It's supposed to create a folder for each backup, but it's going to create the backup folder once. Now if we do ls 2025 ls backups /20, sorry, I'll just navigate into backups, right, cd backups, and then I'll do ls, and then I'll do ls 2025. Now these are the devices and their configuration files that have been saved. If I go a bit down and do nano router, sorry, nano, sorry, it's not coming up for some reason. So because I don't want to type all of this out, but we can see that all the files are saved here, so we can navigate there and we'll see that backup has been created, and we have the backup file here, and we have the 3 backup files right here. So for router 1, we have the configuration file right here, right? Now we can close this out, go to switch 1, and we'll see that switch 1 is having the IP address of let's see if we can find that VLAN 1 IP address DHCP. Okay, yeah, it usually specifies IP address of VLAN 1 as DHCP unless you run the configuration show IP interface brief, right? So we're gonna see, we've seen all of this. Now for switch 2 as well, we can see that the backup has been taken. It has everything that you need, your crypto keys, your interfaces, and all of that. So yeah, this is basically it. If you wanted to automate this, I've already told you, you can use cron jobs or you can use systemd to make that work. So that's basically it. So let me know how you'd usually do yours, how you'd usually, back up your devices, and how you'd back up your device configurations, and yeah. So I've run this command only once. If I run this command the second time, let's try that, you would see that the main backup folder is not created twice, it's created only once, right? And then the one inside the backup folder, the specific one, is created twice, right? So this is the main backup folder, it's created only once, but the second backup folder is created twice, which is this, right? We can see the timestamp 50, this was when we did our first backup. 56 is the current time now. We see that this is when we did the second backup. So if we open it, we're going to see 56, 56, 56. This is the exact minutes that we did this backup for each and every of these files, and we're going to see that they contain the backups as well. So you can use this to track at what point that backup was done. Right now, this is basically how you get this done. If you had 20, 30, 40 devices, it will take longer, but it's going to back up each one and have your files ready for you. So thank you very much for watching. If you do enjoy these videos, please do drop me a like. You can share or you can repost the video, and please consider subscribing so that you can get more of this content in your YouTube whenever it's released. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.